Hi, I'm Heather with Especially Paper. I'm going to show you how to make a paper flower lei. This project uses pieces from the flower garland template from Especially Paper. The lei is just a scaled down version of the garland. The lei is a great accessory for a tropical themed party or a girls' craft party. Let's review the tools and supplies you'll need for the project. For starters, you'll need the flower garland template. You'll also need a craft cutting machine. I'm using a Silhouette, but the SVG files included with the template also work with the new Cricut Explore machines. You'll need a large and medium-sized sewing needle, one for threading and one to roll paper beads. You'll need cardstock for the flowers and leaves. I use lightweight 65-pound cardstock. For the stamens and paper beads, I use text weight paper, such as scrapbook paper. Additional supplies include white craft glue, thread or twine, and a bone folder or scissors. Next, I'm going to show Silhouette users a couple of tips for prepping the files. If you're a Cricut user, skip ahead to about the 3-minute mark in this video. So Silhouette users, I'm using the basic edition of the software, which means I'm opening the DXF files from the flower garland template. If you have the designer edition, use the SVG files. In order to move these pieces independently, you'll need to take a couple of steps. Notice that if I move a petal set, the folds don't come with it. Instead, Silhouette has automatically combined the fold marks. So select the set of fold marks and go to your Object menu. Then select Release Compound Path. Now each perforation line is an individual mark. Click and drag over one petal set and the fold marks, then group the pieces. I use the keyboard shortcut Command-G on a Mac to group them. Repeat for each set of petals and fold marks in the group. Another quick keyboard shortcut. Select a set of pieces you want to copy, then hold down the Alt key while you click and drag. Silhouette will duplicate the selected pieces. I've already copied all the pieces for the flower garland, resized them, and copied them into one Silhouette file. I'm not using the berry pieces from the template for this flower lei. At a smaller size, I thought they would just be too fragile. I've added color to the pieces to help me plan the color scheme. If I zoom out a little, you can see all the parts. Once I've cut one set of parts, I just move it out of the way and drag the next set onto the cutting mat. So there you have it. Those are my tips for Silhouette users. Once you've cut all your pieces, you're ready to start making. To give you a sense of the size, here are the 2 sewing needles I'm using. For the next steps, I'm using the larger of the 2 needles. To make this stamen, use a bone folder or closed scissor blades to apply a little pressure to the small stamens. Add a small dab of glue to the end, then roll the bottom strip on the large needle. Using the large needle for this step ensures that you can thread the smaller needle through this rolled stamen. The second style of stamens is made using the same technique. I want these particular stamens to stay straight, so I am skipping the part where I use the bone folder on them. Once rolled, simply pull the stamens out from the center so they'll kind of stick straight out from the middle. To create the leaves, fold on the dotted lines. Then use your bone folder to curl the leaves out. Add a dab of glue to the tab and then adhere that to the open side. Use this same process to make the other style of leaves and the flowers. Next, we need to make paper beads. I've cut scrapbook paper into 1/2-inch strips that are 4 1/4 inch long. As with the stamens, roll the strip on the large needle to form a bead. These paper beads will become the spacers between the other pieces on the lei. There's just one last bit of prep before we start threading. It's totally optional, but for the 3-petal flowers, I like to add an extra curve in the petals. Starting about halfway up the petal, apply pressure with your bone folder to curve the petal back in just a little. Now that the pieces are ready, let's start threading. For each lei, you'll need 40 to 50 inches of thread. I'm using a number 10 crochet thread. Tie a double knot 4 to 5 inches from one end of the thread. Triple and quadruple the knot until it's large enough to hold your first piece when it's threaded. Then start adding your pieces. After each piece is threaded, add a paper bead to space out the pieces. I'm using 2 mint leaves and 1 aqua leaf between each flower, varying the position of the aqua set. After adding a stamen, skip the paper bead and add the flower directly after the stamen. Then continue adding a paper bead between each piece until you get to the next stamen. Here's a shot of the finished lei. As always, you can get this template and others at especiallypaper.com.